Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really getting into something huge that's changing, well, pretty much everything in the digital world. We're talking about artificial intelligence in advertising.
Right. A massive shift.
Digital advertising.
Yeah.
It's always been about moving fast,
Yeah.
right? Constant innovation. We saw personalization come in, then real-time bidding, all these data strategies.
Absolutely. Always evolving.
But AI, especially I'd say in the last couple of years, it's just a different beast altogether. It's changing how we find people, how we talk to them, even like making the ads themselves.
It really is. We're at this point where the speed is incredible, but so is the sheer power of these tools.
Exactly. An inflection point. Okay, let's unpack this.
And the best way to unpack it, I think, is using this really solid piece of research. The IAB Europe AI Impact Report came out September 2025. What I like is they specifically say they want to move beyond, quote, product marketing and hype.
Yeah, cut through the noise. That's what we need.
Exactly. Get a real picture of where things actually stand in Europe with AI and advertising, based on data.
So that's our mission today. We're going to act as your instructors, basically, walking you through this report step by step. We've pulled together the key findings from, was it 95 companies?
95 European companies, yeah. A mix of stakeholders.
Right. Publishers, ad tech folks, agencies, advertisers too. We want to make clear, how AI is being adopted, how it's governed or not governed, the opportunities people see, and crucially, the challenges. What's holding things back?
And right off the bat, there's this kind of tension in the findings, isn't there? On one side, you've got this massive uptake, 85% adoption for marketing specifically. That's huge.
85%, almost everyone.
But then the flip side, only 43% have bothered to create marketing-specific AI guidelines. And maybe even more startling, 18%, almost 1 in 5, admit they have zero formal governance for AI. None.
Wow. So jump first, ask questions later, that feels risky.
It highlights a big gap, yeah, a maturity gap between how fast the tech is being grabbed and how slowly the responsible structures are being built.
And if there's one underlying worry threading through all of this, what did the data point to most strongly?
Oh, it was crystal clear. Privacy. Hands down, the #1 concern across the board. No contest. #tag 1. Methodology and context.
Okay, so before we dig into the what, let's quickly cover the who. Who did IAB Europe actually talk to for this? It matters, right? Context is everything.
Definitely. So the survey itself was online, ran over the summer, July, August 2025. And yeah, they got those 95 responses from across Europe.
And the breakdown of who responded, that's pretty important too.
Very important, because it tells you whose voice is loudest in the results. Ad tech companies, they were the biggest group, 47%.
Almost half. So the tool builders, the platform providers.
Exactly. Then you had publishers at 27%, agencies at 21%. But here's the really interesting bit, I think. Advertisers. The actual brands paying for everything.
Yeah.
Only 5%.
5%. Just 1 in 20 responses came from the buy side, the clients.
Pretty much.
Okay, so right there, that's something for you, the listener, to keep in mind. When we talk later about things like client guidelines, we're mostly hearing from the supply side here, the tech providers and the publishers and the agencies in the middle.
Yeah, it's definitely weighted towards the, let's say, the operational side of the industry, not the investors, the clients.
Got it. Still valuable. Just need that perspective.
One other quick, kind of quirky detail on the methodology. They offered the survey in 5 languages: English, German, French, Italian, Dutch, which makes sense, big European markets.
Right.
But respondents could pick any language, regardless of where they were based. And apparently the most selected language overall, German.
Huh. Interesting. So a very engaged German-speaking contingent, maybe?
Seems like it. Suggests they were quite proactive in getting the responses in.
Okay, and when the report talks about AI, what exactly are they including? Because AI could mean a lot of things.
Good question. They were quite broad, actually. Included both generative AI models.
Like your ChatGPTs, your image generators.
Exactly. And also predictive AI models.
So the machine learning stuff, the algorithms that have been optimizing campaigns for a while now.
Precisely. Things like targeting optimization, bidding algorithms. By looking at both, they capture the whole picture. The established stuff and the really new disruptive generative tech. It covers how AI finds the audience and how it creates the message.
That makes sense. You need both sides of that coin.
And the industry seems to get why this broad scope is necessary. The intro section quotes Wayne Tassie from Double Verify. He talks about this urgent need for clear frameworks, ongoing training, and responsible deployment. It's not just about grabbing the tech.
Right. It's about embedding it properly, making it work safely and sustainably.
Yeah, he says the goal is making AI an organic part of daily workflows to boost efficiency, creativity, but also, crucially, sustainable growth.
Hmm.
So there's this awareness we need to move fast, but we also need guardrails urgently.
Okay, so we've set the scene, the methodology, the kind of underlying tension. Now let's get to the adoption numbers. Segment 2. And this is where that big headline figure comes in. What was it, 93 out of 95 using AI internally for something?
Yeah, almost universal for general internal use. But the key number for us is when they narrowed it down. AI tools used specifically for marketing and advertising functions. That's the 85%.
85%. That's pretty much market saturation, isn't it? Nearly 9 out of 10 using AI in their marketing stack. Here's where it gets really interesting.
And it's not just, dipping a toe in. The report found that around three-quarters, 74%, said at least one core campaign function was actively powered by AI.
74%. So it's embedded. It's in the workflow. It's not just a sideshow.
Exactly. It's part of how campaigns are actually run day to day.
So what are those core functions then? If 74% are using it actively, where's the main action? What's AI doing most?
The two big ones that came out on top were targeting, refining who sees the ads.
Okay, the predictive side.
Right. And content generation, both audiovisual stuff and text.
The generative side. So it really is that mix we talked about, finding the who and creating the what.
Precisely. Those are the leaders, but the applications go way beyond that. They saw a strong use in reporting and analysis, making sense of all the data.
Sure. Pattern recognition.
Optimizing creatives, too. Things like DCO, dynamic creative optimization, for personalizing ads automatically.
Right. Tailoring the ad on the fly.
Audience segmentation, digging deeper into who the audiences are. Programmatic optimization, beyond just basic bidding. And measurement as well.
It's pretty much touching every part of the campaign lifecycle then.
It really is. It's become quite pervasive.
Let's pause on that programmatic optimization piece for a second. We know basic AI, machine learning, has been in bidding for ages. How is this newer AI changing things there? Is it just faster bidding?
It's much more than just speed or setting a floor price. The more advanced AI in programmatic now. It's not just predicting, say, the chance of a click based on old data. It's trying to predict the future value of an impression. It looks at loads of signals, the context, where the user is in their journey, all those new cookie-less signals.
Okay, so it's more forward-looking, predictive valuation.
Exactly. It shifts programmatic from just reacting to past performance to proactively trying to figure out the best possible moment and place for that ad, considering thousands of factors at once. It's a much more complex calculation.
Gotcha. Now, thinking about how companies are getting these AI capabilities, are they building it all themselves or buying it in? What did the data show there?
They're mostly buying it in. The split was around 60-40, favoring third-party solutions.
60/40. That's interesting, especially with all the talk about wanting more first-party data control, bringing things in-house.
It is interesting. It tells us a couple of things, I think. First, speed is critical. Companies want these AI tools now, and vendors offer ready-made solutions.
Get to market faster. Makes sense.
Second, building this stuff yourself. It's hard and expensive. Finding and keeping the AI talent, that's a major challenge. So outsourcing the heavy lifting is often easier.
So capability and speed are winning out over maybe total control for now.
That seems to be the case, yeah. That 60-40 split suggests the immediate need is overriding the desire for complete vertical integration, at least currently.
Okay. And there was a quote about this adoption being sort of the natural next step.
Yeah, Tom Peruzzi from Virtual Minds, he framed it as the next step in the evolution of digital advertising. His point was that AI isn't just doing tasks faster, it's actually helping understand complex relationships in the data, making things easier for advertisers while hopefully enriching the consumer experience. He called it an ease-of-use utility.
So less about replacing humans, more about augmenting their decisions, making complex things simpler.
That's the idea, yeah, elevating the process.
All right, segment 2 painted a picture of really fast, deep adoption, which naturally leads us to segment 3, governance. Because when you adopt powerful tech this quickly, well, you need rules, right? What systems are actually in place to manage this?
And this is where that big disconnect we mentioned earlier really shows up. The governance is lagging way behind the adoption curve. Take internal guidelines. Okay, 68% of companies said they have general internal AI guidelines. That's, okay, a start.
General guidelines, fine. But what about specific rules for using AI in marketing, where the risks might be different?
Exactly. When they asked specifically about guidelines tailored for marketing and advertising use, the number plummeted, only 43%.
43%. So wait, that means over half, 57%, have people using AI in campaigns, potentially making content, targeting users without specific marketing rules.
That's what the data suggests. No specific policies on, say, acceptable use cases or disclosure needs or who needs to sign off. It's concerning.
Yeah, concerning feels like an understatement.
And remember that other number, the 18% who reported having no formal governance structures for AI at all.
Right, nearly 1 in 5. Just using it
Yeah.
with no framework.
Yeah. So if something goes wrong with an AI tool, if it generates harmful content or messes up targeting badly, 18% of these companies seem to have no defined process or person responsible for sorting it out.
That's a huge blind spot.
Yeah.
For the companies that do have some governance, who's usually in charge? Is it a tech lead?
Legal?
Ethics?
It's most often a dedicated lead, often someone from the technology side, a head of technology, or similar. What's really telling, though, is who isn't typically in charge. Less than 5% delegate AI governance to an actual ethics committee or council.
Less than 5%. So it's seen more as a tech implementation issue than a broader ethical or legal one in many places.
It seems that way. The ownership sits with tech, not necessarily with a group looking at the wider implications, and that probably feeds into why some of those societal issues we'll get to are lower priority.
Okay, and this lack of structure, it must get really tricky when you talk about the data these AIs run on, especially user data for training models. What's the policy landscape there?
It's completely fragmented, a real mess, frankly. It highlights a major policy dilemma. You've got almost the same number of companies allowing user data for training AI models, that was 43%,
Okay.
as those who explicitly forbid it, that was 32%.
So a near even split on a really critical sensitive issue.
Exactly. And then you've got others who allow it sometimes, maybe only for internal use or only third-party data, or they just haven't decided yet. There's absolutely no consensus.
Which is dangerous, right? Because using user data is ground zero for privacy concerns and regulatory risk, especially with things like the EU AI Act looming.
Precisely. And this lack of internal control extends outwards, too. They asked about external checks on in-house AI tools. Only 16%. 16 said their own homegrown AI tools get assessed or audited by an independent third party.
So most are just marking their own homework, essentially.
It looks that way. So you combine that lack of internal marketing rules, the lack of ethical oversight structures, and the lack of external validation, suddenly that impressive 85% adoption rate starts to look less like an advantage and more like a potential liability waiting to happen.
Okay, let's shift slightly from the rules already in place to how ready companies feel they are. Thinking about skills and compliance. The good news, maybe, is that companies seem to know they have a skills gap. What did the report say about training?
Yeah, there's definitely awareness there. 60% of the companies surveyed said they provide some form of AI training to their marketing staff.
60%, that's a decent majority, shows they know it's not just plug and play.
Right. It suggests they see AI sticking around requiring new skills, not just a fad. And they're looking for help, too. 63% said they'd really benefit from guidelines developed by an industry body, like IAB Europe itself. They want a blueprint.
They're looking for external guidance, which makes total sense, especially when you consider the biggest regulatory challenge coming down the track, the European AI Act. How prepared is the industry for that?
Well, they're engaging with it, but maybe not as comprehensively as you might expect. Around 60% are looking at the AI Act's impact. That's split between those who finished their assessment, 34%,
Okay.
and those who are still in the middle of assessing it, 24%.
Which means 40% haven't even formally started assessing the impact yet.
Apparently so. A significant chunk still needs to get started on figuring out what the AI Act means for them.
And for those who have looked at it, how confident do they feel about being compliant?
Confidence is lukewarm, I'd say. They were asked to rate their readiness for compliance on a scale of 1 to 10. The average score, 6.
6 out of 10. Okay. Not exactly brimming with confidence, is it?
No. It's not panic stations, but it suggests they know it's going to be tough. That their current setups probably aren't enough to meet the Act's requirements easily.
And we should clarify for listeners, the worry isn't just about, a general audit. It's about specific AI uses, right? Things like really granular audience profiling or predictive ads. Could those get labeled high risk under the Act?
Yeah.
Because that brings a whole world of pain in terms of compliance.
Exactly. That high-risk classification is the big fear. It means huge documentation, constant monitoring, potential fines, which is probably why privacy laws were the #1 other regulation legislation that mentioned assessing alongside the AI Act. It's all interconnected.
A regulatory minefield, basically.
Pretty much. And this brings us nicely to that quote from Liz Salway at EPAM. She had a really sharp take on this. She basically said marketers are at a crossroads. They have to be the fulcrum of change, take ownership of governing AI use within their teams and with partners.
Or what? What's the risk if they don't?
The risk, she argues, is losing control. Losing control of what you say, the content, and how you say it, the governance, the privacy. It's not just about avoiding fines. It's about your brand's integrity. If your AI policy is weak, your brand itself is vulnerable.
Okay, we've spent a fair bit of time on the risks and the governance gaps, which are crucial. But let's pivot back to why everyone's jumping in so fast. The opportunities. Companies wouldn't be adopting AI at 85% if they weren't seeing something positive, right? What are the tangible benefits?
Yeah, there are definitely measurable gains being reported. Exactly half, 50% of all respondents said they saw an improvement in their marketing KPIs that they could directly link to using AI tools.
50% seeing better results. Okay, that's a solid number. That explains the enthusiasm.
It does. But importantly, those benefits aren't spread evenly across the industry. It really depends on where you sit in the ecosystem.
Ah, okay. So who's seeing the biggest uplift?
It's the advertisers and the ad tech companies. 2/3 of advertisers, 67%, reported better KPIs, and 60% of the ad tech providers did too.
Makes sense. The tools are designed to help them specifically. Agencies.
Agencies were close behind, 48%, still pretty good.
And the publishers. The ones creating the content environment.
That's where the numbers drop off quite a bit. Less than a third of publishers, only 27%, reported seeing an increase in their CPMs, their revenue per 1,000 impressions, from AI.
Only 27%. Wow. So AI is helping the buyers and the tech guys optimize, but the sellers, the content owners, aren't really feeling that financial benefit directly yet.
That's what this data suggests, yeah. Less direct, measurable uplift for publishers from this AI wave, at least so far.
That could definitely cause some friction down the line. But despite that uneven benefit, the overall confidence in AI's future seems rock solid, looking at investment plans.
Oh, absolutely undeniable. Huge confidence. 73%, almost three-quarters, said their company plans to either maintain or increase their investment in AI marketing tech over the next year.
Maintain or increase? And what about decreasing investment?
Here's the kicker. 0. Not a single respondent said they were planning to decrease investment in AI.
Nobody's pulling back.
Okay.
That's a massive signal, isn't it? The industry is all in. The debate about if AI is important is over. Now it's just about how much and how fast.
Completely committed. AI is now just a fundamental part of the marketing stack. Non-negotiable.
And where's that investment likely to go? Is it just making current ads better, or are they looking at new frontiers?
Definitely looking ahead. Beyond just optimizing programmatic or search, there's massive interest in totally new advertising environments. Get this. 81% of respondents said they are interested in buying or selling ad space on consumer-facing AI platforms.
81%. So things like chatbots, the big LLMs like ChatGPT, generative search interfaces.
Yeah.
The industry sees those as the next big ad platforms.
Overwhelmingly so. They're not just seeing them as tools to make ads, but as prime real estate for ads. That tells you where they think consumer attention is heading.
Okay, let's switch gears slightly and look at the influence of the clients, the advertisers, the buy side. Usually what the big spenders demand sets the standard for everyone else, right? So given all this AI activity, are advertisers laying down the law on AI use? Are they sending out strict guidelines?
Well, based on this report, that client-driven standardization, it's really not happening in a widespread way yet. It seems quite immature. Most companies, the agencies, the publishers, the ad tech, said they do not regularly receive specific AI guidelines from their clients. Only about a third said they had received any at all.
Only a third have ever gotten AI rules from a client. That seems low, considering how much AI is being used.
It does. And even for that third who had received guidelines, it wasn't coming from everyone. They usually said it was only from a minority of their clients, probably the bigger, more sophisticated ones.
So it's patchy. Some leading advertisers are setting rules, but it's far from being a standard industry practice demanded by all clients.
Exactly. It's not yet a universal requirement filtering down the chain, even from the big spenders.
Okay, but for the guidelines that do exist, the ones that minority of clients are sending out, what are they focusing on? What are the clients' main worries when they do issue rules?
The focus is very much on immediate risks: brand protection, legal compliance. The top 3 things mentioned in those buy-side guidelines were, number 1, generating content, making sure the AI-created stuff is okay.
Right. Controlling the message. Makes sense.
Number 2, Privacy. No surprise there, given it's the top overall concern.
Yep.
And number 3, compliance. Specifically mentioning things like the AI Act.
Okay, so is the content safe? Is the data use legal? Are we following the new laws? Pretty logical priorities for a client.
Very logical, very focused on mitigating immediate brand damage and legal trouble.
But what's not on that list? What are clients apparently less concerned about based on these guidelines?
This is where we see that pattern again, the things that came in dead last. Getting only about a fifth of the mentions compared to content and privacy were bias and sustainability.
Bias and sustainability again at the bottom. So advertisers, when they're setting rules for their partners, are much less focused on the fairness of the algorithms or the environmental impact of AI compared to brand safety and legal compliance.
That's what the data indicates, yes. The immediate commercial risks, things that could cause a PR crisis or a fine tomorrow, are getting the attention. The longer-term societal impacts, much less so, at least in terms of explicit client demands right now.
Short-term focus winning out again. Seems to be a recurring theme.
It really does.
All right, let's dive into those concerns more directly. We know the enthusiasm is there, the investment is flowing, but the industry isn't naive. There's anxiety too. What did the IAB's rankings show as the absolute top worries?
We mentioned it earlier, but it bears repeating because it was so definitive. Privacy was number 1. Highest average rank, 5.89. It's just the dominant concern.
Driven by regulation, consumer awareness, the sheer amount of data.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what follows privacy?
The next tier of concerns are all very closely related, mostly linked to the outputs of generative AI. You have brand safety and harmful generated media, and they specifically included IP infringement concerns in there.
Right, AI creating something offensive or copying someone else's work. Big worries. Exactly. Then, protecting brand identity, making sure the AI sounds like the brand. And consumer perception, how do customers feel about interacting with AI? Those 4, privacy, brand safety IP, brand identity, consumer perception, they form the top cluster of anxieties.
All very immediate, tangible risks to the brand and its relationship with consumers. And where did the bigger picture stuff land in this ranking? Bias, sustainability, accountability,
Yeah.
right down at the bottom again. Consistently the lowest ranked concerns. Just like in the buy-side guidelines, it reinforces that view. The industry is currently wired to prioritize immediate threats over those potentially larger but less immediate structural or ethical issues.
Okay. And there was a specific concern flag just for publishers, wasn't there? About their core business model.
Yes, a very specific worry for them. They were asked how concerned they are about losing traffic because people get answers directly from AI tools like chatbots instead of clicking through to their websites. They rated that concern on average 5 out of 10.
5 out of 10, so moderately concerned. Not panic, but definitely on their radar. Yeah, understandable, right? If LLMs mean fewer clicks, that hits their main revenue stream directly.
Definitely. So are they doing anything proactive about it? Like, are they partnering with these AI companies, maybe licensing their content archives to train the models, creating a new revenue stream?
Mostly. No. The data showed significant reluctance, or maybe just inaction. About 70% of the publishers said they have not partnered with any AI platform to license their content.
70% haven't done deals.
Right.
Wow. So you've got this weird situation. The ad side, 81%, is desperate to advertise on these AI platforms, but the content side, 70%, is largely refusing to provide the high-quality information to make those platforms really good.
That's the tension, yeah. The buyers want in, but the content providers are holding back, which, long-term could actually hurt the advertisers too if the AI models they rely on for targeting are trained on increasingly limited or lower quality data because publishers won't play ball. It could create a data quality crunch.
Interesting dynamic. Okay, let's move from anxieties to actual roadblocks. What's practically stopping companies from going even faster with AI? It's one thing to want to invest, another to actually be able to implement effectively. What are the main barriers?
The number one barrier, cited by almost half the respondents, 45%, was a lack of internal expertise or training.
Ah, the skills gap again.
Yeah.
So even though 60% are training, it's clearly not enough yet. They just don't have enough people who know how to manage and use this stuff properly.
That's the biggest single blocker, yeah.
Yeah.
The talent shortage is real, and it's holding nearly half the industry back.
What else came up as major obstacles?
2 other big ones were difficulty integrating AI with their existing, often older systems.
Yep, legacy tech problems, always fun.
And regulatory uncertainty. That 610 confidence score on AI Act readiness. That uncertainty translates directly into hesitation to fully commit sometimes.
So skills, systems, and rules. The big 3 practical hurdles.
Those are the main ones. But there were others too, pointing maybe towards a lack of complete trust in the tech itself yet. Things like worries about becoming too reliant on AI, uncertainty about the quality of the output, which ties back to brand safety,
Right. Can we trust what the machine creates?
and just basic incompatibility with how teams currently work. Changing workflows is hard.
And almost everyone faced some barrier, right?
Yeah, only 5% said they face no barriers at all. So for 95% of the ecosystem, implementing AI isn't easy. It's a complex challenge on multiple fronts, even with all the excitement. Hashtag tagged conclusion and final thought.
Okay, so we've walked through the IAB Europe report. High adoption, big investment plans, but also these really stark gaps in governance, skills, and readiness. Two realities side by side. So summing it all up, what does this mean for digital advertising right now and maybe in the next year or two?
Well, Tobias Kellner from Google had a good point in the report, kind of capturing this duality. You've got the confidence that 73% planning to boost investment is huge momentum. But that confidence needs to be translated into, as he put it, scalable, sustainable growth. And the urgency comes from those gaps we kept finding.
The fragmented data use policies, the low compliance confidence, the lack of specific governance.
Exactly. And the skills shortage. The feeling is that the industry needs to collaborate, maybe through bodies like IAB Europe, providing those guidelines. People want to get some harmony.
Yeah.
Standardize metrics, clarify best practices, get a handle on compliance before this already fast adoption goes into hyperdrive.
Which brings us to our final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. We saw that massive 81% interest in advertising on new AI platforms like chatbots. Huge commercial excitement.
Yep.
Yet consistently, both in terms of industry concerns and client guidelines, the issues of bias and sustainability were at the very bottom of the priority lists.
Right. The commercial drive is strong, the ethical considerations lagging.
So, the provocative question is this. Can the industry actually achieve that sustainable growth that Wayne Tassie called for? Can it be truly sustainable if things like algorithmic fairness and environmental impact are treated as afterthoughts before the big money really starts flowing into these new AI platforms? What's the responsibility of these early adopters, everyone jumping in now, to build a more ethical foundation? Because the data suggests commercial speed is way out ahead of ethical stewardship right now.
It's a critical question. What structures, what priorities need to shift inside organizations, maybe inside your organization, to make sure that balance doesn't get completely lost in the rush? Something to think about.